Welcome to our lecture on aquatic biomes. Imagine you are taking a road trip across the world, but instead of driving on land, you are traveling in a submarine. Just like the land has distinct environments like hot deserts, dense rainforests, and freezing tundras, the underwater world has its own unique neighborhoods with specific living conditions. Understanding these biomes is like learning the map of the Earth's life support system, especially since water covers over 70% of our entire planet. Let us dive in and explore these incredible underwater worlds. Now that we have our submarine ready, let us look at what makes these underwater neighborhoods so special. Why do we even call them biomes? In biology, a biome is a large community of life, and aquatic biomes are specifically adapted to water. Think about how different a rushing mountain river feels compared to a deep, still lake or the salty ocean. These physical differences in water movement and salt content dictate exactly what kind of life can survive there. A fish adapted to a still, freshwater lake would not last long in a crashing, salty ocean wave. These physical rules govern all aquatic life. Building on that intuition, let us establish a formal scientific definition. In scientific terms, an aquatic biome is a large-scale community of organisms specifically adapted to survive in certain environmental conditions within a body of water. If you recall terrestrial biomes on land, they are primarily defined by temperature and rainfall. However, underwater, the rules change. Aquatic biomes are categorized mainly by their salinity, their water depth, and their water flow. These three physical factors are the master architects of the underwater world, determining everything from the microscopic plankton to the largest whales. Since salinity is a primary defining factor, let us first examine the freshwater biomes. These are environments that have a salt concentration of less than 1%. Even though they make up a tiny fraction of the Earth's water, they are incredibly diverse. This category includes the still waters of lakes and wetlands, as well as the flowing waters of streams and rivers. The organisms here have evolved specialized mechanisms to retain salt in their bodies because their environment has almost none. Without these freshwater systems, terrestrial life, including humans, would not have the drinking water necessary to survive. Moving from freshwater, we enter the vast marine biomes, which dominate our planet. These environments have a salt concentration of around 3%. This massive category encompasses the open oceanic pelagic zone, the deep marine benthic zone, intertidal zones, and vibrant coral reefs. But what happens where rivers meet the sea? That creates a unique transitional biome called an estuary. Estuaries are highly productive environments where freshwater mixes with the salty ocean. Because the tides come in and out, the salinity levels are constantly fluctuating, requiring the organisms living there to be incredibly adaptable to changing conditions. You might wonder why we need to study these watery environments in such meticulous detail. The truth is, aquatic biomes are absolutely critical to the survival of all life on Earth. The marine biome, specifically the vast ocean, acts as the planet's thermostat. It regulates our global climate by absorbing massive amounts of heat and carbon dioxide from the atmosphere. Furthermore, the microscopic algae living in these biomes are the unsung heroes of our atmosphere, producing more than half of the oxygen we breathe every single day. Beyond global climate, These biomes also offer direct, practical benefits to human civilization. From a practical standpoint, these biomes provide billions of people with their primary source of protein through global fisheries. Without the complex food webs supported by aquatic biomes, this vital food supply would collapse. Additionally, they protect our coastlines from devastating storms. Natural structures like vibrant coral reefs and dense mangrove wetlands act as physical barriers, absorbing the crushing impact of waves and preventing coastal erosion during extreme weather events. Now that we understand the immense value of these biomes, let us look at the most important physical factor defining life within them: light availability. Light provides the essential energy required for photosynthesis. However, as you go deeper into a lake or ocean, the water molecules and dissolved particles absorb and scatter the incoming sunlight. This means that the physical environment changes drastically from the bright, sunlit surface down to the pitch-black depths. Because plants and algae need light to survive, this rapid fading of sunlight strictly limits where the foundation of the aquatic food web can exist. To understand exactly how light fades, we use a mathematical model called the Beer-Lambert law. Conceptually, this formula describes exponential decay, meaning light disappears faster and faster the deeper you go. Let us break down the symbols. I sub z represents the light intensity at a specific depth underwater. I sub 0 is the initial light intensity, right at the surface. The constant E is the base of the natural logarithm, modeling natural decay. The symbol K is the light attenuation coefficient. If the water is murky, K increases, meaning light disappears much faster. Finally, Z is the depth in meters. As depth Z increases, the light intensity decreases exponentially, which is why the deep ocean is completely pitch black. Before we move on, let us see this formula in action with a concrete example. Imagine studying a clear freshwater lake. We are given a surface light intensity of 1,000 units, an attenuation coefficient of 0.1 per meter, and we want to find the light at a depth of 10 meters. We plug these values into our exponential decay formula. The exponent becomes negative 0.1 multiplied by 10, which simplifies neatly to negative 1. The mathematical constant e raised to the power of negative 1 is approximately 0.368. Multiplying this by our initial 1,000 units gives us our final answer. Physically, this means 37% of the surface light reaches this depth, providing plenty of energy for aquatic plants to thrive. Now, let us tackle a more complex scenario in a murky estuary biome. Here, the water is full of sediment, so the attenuation coefficient is much higher, at 0.5. We want to find the depth of the photic zone, which is strictly defined as the depth where light falls to exactly 1% of the surface intensity. We set our target light to 0.01 times the initial intensity. Notice that the initial intensity appears on both sides, so we can cancel it out completely. To get our unknown depth out of the exponent, we apply the natural logarithm to both sides. The natural log of 0.01 is negative 4.605. Dividing by negative 0.5 gives us our final depth. Because the water is so murky, active photosynthesis can only occur in the top 9 meters. Let us visualize everything we have just calculated. On screen is a diagram showing a cross-section of an aquatic biome. The vertical axis represents depth, going deeper underwater. Notice the bold red curve sweeping downwards. This represents the exponential decay of light intensity we just modeled with the Beer-Lambert law. The brightly lit upper region is the photic zone, where all the algae and plants live because there is enough solar energy for photosynthesis. As we cross the dashed line, called the compensation point, we enter the aphotic zone. Down here, the light has faded completely to pitch black. This visual perfectly captures how a single physical property, light penetration, dictates the entire structure of life in an aquatic biome. We have covered a tremendous amount of ground today. Let us review the key takeaways. First, aquatic biomes are massive, diverse ecosystems defined not by temperature, but by physical factors like salinity, depth, and water movement. Second, these biomes are the life support system of our planet, regulating the climate and producing most of our oxygen. Finally, we learned that light decays exponentially underwater, which we can calculate using the Beer-Lambert law. This rapid fading of light strictly dictates where photosynthesis can occur, shaping the entire food web. Mastering these foundational concepts is your first major step toward understanding the complex, beautiful machinery of aquatic biology. Great work today.